Welcome back to Cooking with Jan, and welcome to our new kitchen studio. We were off the air for about 2 months as our new kitchen was being built, and we're very pleased with the results. The countertops, as you can see, are much higher for me, so I can reach things a lot easier. Here's the electric stove, which I will get into in a bit. I work on this side. Of course, I was working on the other side before for Cooking with Jan, so now I'm just next to the stove. We have a new dishwasher, works extremely well. And also a hose, standard for many modern kitchens, very convenient. A nice pull-out pantry as well. This I particularly like, which is a solution for pulling out your pots and pans. It's just great. It really is a big help, especially for somebody like me who's getting older, and when I bend, I feel it. We also have some space for the microwave, which is here. And finally, we have a big refrigerator for when we entertain guests. You can fit a lot of stuff in there. This stove is way too sensitive. It's touch sensitive. Finally, I have the light touch so I can work it better, but it's just too involved. You know, with the dials, you set it and you have your heat. Here you have to constantly readjust. Another annoying thing about this thing is that it's very geared towards safety. It thinks as though children are running around here. That's not the case. There's a cook, a responsible adult, and the thing will suddenly just, turn itself off or turn itself on. Quality is fine, but it's just over-engineered, basically. But let's try out the kitchen today, and we're going to do that with an Asian-style sweet potato soup that I got from the channel Kalle Kocht. Kalle Kocht is done by a German chef named Karl Michael Hoffmann. Ich werde kurz mal ins Deutsche wechseln für meine deutschen Zuschauer. Ich kann das Kanal von Herrn Hoffmann, Kalle Kocht, wirklich empfehlen. Ich habe sehr viele Rezeptideen dann von Herrn Hoffmann bekommen. Vielen Dank, Herr Hoffmann. Und ich habe ja einfach von ihm sehr viele Inspirationen. Deshalb, meine deutschen Zuschauer sollten auf jeden Fall zu Kalle Kocht mal gehen. Just a word about mise en place. I got this explanation, this wisdom from another chef whose channel I watch, Chef Jean-Pierre. Thank you, Mr. Jean-Pierre. That mise en place means that actually you have all of your ingredients ready so you can cook. In this case, we are going to cut up the onions, but the sweet potatoes I've already cut up into chunks. But mise en place really means that everything is ready to go for the cook, even though I will show you how I cut up the onions basically and then do the other stuff. So here for the recipe I have 6 small onions. I'm entertaining today. This will be my entree, the soup, my starter. So I'm doing double portion. So you have 6 small onions. For 4 people you would take 3. Here I have about 1 kilogram of cut up sweet potato. You would use 500 grams if you were just cooking for 4 people. I have 1 pepperoni. I have 1.5 liters of vegetable broth, which I just made from the powder. It's a quality powder, and you can use quality powder. You can get also vegetable broth already made from the supermarket. And of course you can do it yourself, but I'm not quite that advanced. I mean, I would have to do that probably for another video. And then I have, because of the Asian touch, I have 1 liter of coconut milk. And then we just have some salt and pepper. And then maybe, some olive oil as well to start. You'll see that in a second. And then maybe I'll put in some brown sugar and some cinnamon, as both go very well with the sweet potatoes. So step 1, let's just cut up our onions. You don't have to dice them. Don't dice them so small because everything is going to be pureed at the end. So we just, as you do with an onion, make sure you take the skin off. You can also use yellow onions, white onions. Just make sure that they're not too big. You want about this size. Right, so we peel the onion. Don't have to, for the camera at least, don't have to waste too much time. Right, and then as you always do with onions, we're not dicing them, but we're doing them kind of rough chop here, just 1 here. That's all we need. And then finally on the pepperoni, just to show you, I'm only using one, but because of the portions, 2 would be required. But that's really enough heat for me. I'm more conservative on heat. I'm just going to cut it up into small pieces and leave the seeds in for that heat. Give our very sensitive electric stove a whirl. So you have to very gently press here, turns on, great. And then I have to, of course, here adjust. So I have 3 steps instead of 1. I would just put on the dial. Put in some olive oil, about a good tablespoon. Yeah, about that. The question is, when do you know that your oil is hot enough? Well, you can see that I just put a little bit of onion in there and see that the bubbles around it, it's already boiling, it's really ready to go. There are a number of methods. If you had a lot of oil, you would put a spoon in, and if bubbles were to surround the spoon, then you know that your oil is hot enough. That's for things that are fried. When we're sauteing something, that's good enough. I know that my olive oil is hot enough, so let's get going. Let's put on our fan and put in our onions, and we're gonna sweat them, we're gonna saute them, we're not gonna burn them. They get that sizzle. In fact, I'm gonna turn down my heat just a few notches, about 7. Put in our onions, and we're gonna sweat them. This means we're gonna be in there for about a minute or 2. At this stage, you can also add in some salt to take out the moisture already. And since we're not burning anything, put in some pepper too. Next step is we put in our pepperoni, just like that. Stir it around. Make sure that your onions do not get brown. You don't want to caramelize them. That's another method to use. Okay, now we're going to put in our sweet potatoes. All go in there. I even have done some sweet potato fries, which is why they're shaped like that. Okay, it's saved up for my soup. And we stir it around. And I'm going to add a little bit more salt and pepper in just a bit. We put in our coconut milk and also our vegetable broth. I'm going to put the heat up. I put it in mid-heat now. I'm going to put it up just a little bit a notch because I'm going to want to boil those liquid ingredients. So I'd say I put on, this is what I mean. If I had a dial, none of this would be necessary. I have to always adjust. It's very involved. Okay, in first goes the vegetable broth. Okay, a nice sizzle there. All goes in there. In fact, I will okay. Stir that around. Actually, I'm going to put up the heat all the way up because we want to boil the ingredients before we then reduce the heat and cook. Goes in the coconut milk. Our soup is now boiling and it's at the right temperature, and we're going to have the ingredients cook for about 20 minutes and then we'll see each other again. I may reduce the heat just a bit. However, I'm not so happy with the energy level here, but anyway. Okay, our soup has been simmering. That was the word that I was looking for when I said not cooking so forcefully. Simmering for the last 20 minutes or so. And the sweet potatoes are done because they're soft. So now the next step is to take it off the heat for a second. Just turn this off as I try to master my new technology. And you use a hand mixer. In German, Purierstab. And just make sure you get all of the pieces. I just saw a few pieces of sweet potato floating around, some of onion, but as you can see, look at this beautiful color. And as we have the right measurements, the right proportions, we have a nice creamy soup. Okay, here's the moment of truth, tasting the soup. I also added a little bit of, about a tablespoon of brown sugar and a few shakes of cinnamon go perfect with sweet potato. So we'll do a quality check and speak to each other just in a second. It turns out that my soup is rather spicy, and the pepperoni had more power in it than I thought. So the way you can adjust to make the soup a little bit less spicy, of course, use a little bit of cream, whipping cream like I have here, which I've put in. You just try with a few shakes, if you will. And of course, you can make some more vegetable broth. Here I used Maggi, very good quality. Thank you for tuning in to Cooking with Jan. We hope that you enjoyed the video. We hope that you enjoyed our new kitchen studio. We're very proud of it, even if I'm not so happy with the advances in technology necessarily. Probably I'm a little bit too old school. I'd like to also give a shout out to Paula Keats. Thank you very much, Paula, for asking me when we're going to be doing the video again. I dedicate this video to you. And to all of you, I just would be delighted if you like the video, give me a thumbs up, you share the video with others, recommend it to others, subscribe. We have now over 60 subscribers, which means that the 100 level is not very far away. I can't believe how much the community has grown, and I'm absolutely delighted that what I do for you is something that is so appreciated. And as Jacques Papin says, happy cooking and happy Easter. Wie man sieht, bin ich ganz gesund geworden. Früher habe ich immer davor eine Tasse Kaffee getrunken, um den Adrenalin zu steigern, make it less sharp, to make it less spicy, excuse me. The reason why the soup had become so spicy was because the pepperoni's spicy level was much higher than one would have thought. Actually, the recipe calls for 2, but to make this soup perfect, I should have just used half of that pepperoni, it turns out. But these things you can only find out after you cook. So please, make sure you always cook with reckless abandon.